Success isn't about what you do once in a while. It's about what you do every single day. Winners don't rely on motivation. They rely on discipline. The weak make excuses. The strong, they show up no matter what. So the question is, are you willing to show up even when you don't feel like it? Most people fail not because they lack talent, but because they lack consistency. They start strong, full of energy, and then they stop. Why? Because they let their feelings dictate their actions. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect moment. But the truth is, success is built on non-negotiable discipline. It's about showing up when you're tired, when you're uninspired, when the world tells you to quit. Because if you don't show up every single day, you'll never see results. Ask yourself this: how many times have you started something and given up? How many times have you let yourself down? Enough of that. From today, you commit. No more excuses, no more waiting, no more skipping days. Because every time you skip, and when you lose momentum, you lose the game. Winners, they don't miss days. They don't care how they feel. They don't negotiate with weakness. They show up, they dominate, and they win. So today, make a decision. Show up daily. Never miss a day. Motivation is fleeting emotion. It comes and goes like the wind, unpredictable and unreliable. If you rely on motivation to take action, you are setting yourself up for failure. The truth is, the people who achieve real success in life are not the ones who wait to feel inspired. They are the ones who act regardless of how they feel. They understand that motivation is a luxury, but discipline is a necessity. Every single day, there will be moments when you don't feel like doing the work. You'll wake up tired, uninspired, or overwhelmed. Your mind will start feeding you excuses. Just take a break today. You'll do it tomorrow. Or one day off won't hurt. This is where the weak break, but the strong push forward. The moment you allow excuses to dictate your actions, you surrender your future. The difference between winners and losers is simple. Winners do what needs to be done, no matter how they feel. The reality is, successful people don't always feel like showing up either. They have bad days just like everyone else. They get tired, frustrated, and bored. But they have mastered one fundamental truth: they don't negotiate with themselves. There is no debate, no second guessing, no room for weakness. They wake up, they execute, and they get it done. It's not about how they feel, it's about the standard they have set for themselves. Most people never reach their potential because they wait for the perfect mood, the right energy, or external motivation. But real winners don't care about those things. They understand that discipline is what separates them from the masses. Motivation is temporary, but discipline is permanent. It is the ability to show up day after day, regardless of circumstances, that builds unshakable success. Think about an elite athlete. Do you think they feel like training every single day? Do you think a champion boxer wakes up every morning excited to run miles in the cold, push through grueling workouts, and endure pain? Absolutely not. But they do it anyway because they know that the work must be done, and they are the kind of person who does it. This is the mentality you must adopt if you want to achieve anything great in life. Every time you act based on discipline rather than emotion, you strengthen your mindset. You build resilience. You develop the ability to push through discomfort and stay committed. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. Eventually, it stops feeling like a choice and starts feeling like an automatic response. You don't question whether you should do the work, you just do it. And that's where true power lies. On the flip side, every time you give in to weakness, you reinforce bad habits. If you skip one day because you don't feel like it, the next time will be even easier to skip. Before you know it, days turn into weeks, and weeks turn into failure. This is why discipline must be non-negotiable. There is no adjust this once. There is no I'll start tomorrow. You start now, you push through, you execute. No exceptions. Most people live their lives trapped in a cycle of inconsistency because they never develop the discipline to follow through. They start strong, full of enthusiasm, but the moment motivation fades, they quit. They convince themselves that they'll get back to it later. But later never comes. Winners understand that action must be taken regardless of feelings. They don't wait for motivation. They create results through relentless discipline. So ask yourself this: do you want to be the kind of person who lets emotions control their actions? Or do you want to be the kind of person who executes relentlessly no matter what? The answer to that question will determine your future. There are no off days when it comes to success. The idea of 0 days is the biggest killer of progress. A day where you do nothing, where you make zero effort toward your goals, is a wasted day that you will never get back. Success is not about making massive leaps overnight. It is about showing up consistently, even if it's just a small effort. Because small efforts compounded over time lead to massive results. The moment you allow yourself to skip a day, you create a dangerous precedent. 1 day turns into two into a week, and before you know it, you've completely lost momentum. Winners understand that even doing 1% of the work is infinitely better than doing nothing. The goal is to keep moving, even if slow. There will be days when you feel exhausted, uninspired, or too busy to give your full effort, but that is not an excuse to do nothing. If you can't complete an intense workout, do a light one. If you can't write 10 pages, write one. 10 pages, write one. If you can't spend 3 hours on your business, spend 15 minutes. What matters is that you do something. Progress, no matter how small, is still progress. The act of showing up, even when you don't feel like it, keeps your momentum alive and your discipline strong. It reinforces the habit of consistency, which is the foundation of success. Well, momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. When you're in motion, things become easier. The hardest part is getting started, but once you develop the habit of never having a 0 day, your progress becomes unstoppable. On the flip side, losing momentum is one of the fastest ways to fail. The moment you allow yourself to stop, you invite laziness, procrastination, and weakness into your life. And once those things take hold, they become harder and harder to break free from. That's why the most successful people in the world never allow themselves to stop. They show up no matter what. Oh, they put in the work even when it's inconvenient. Think about a plane taking off. It requires massive energy to get off the ground. But once it reaches cruising altitude, it flies effortlessly. The same principle applies to success. In the beginning, it's hard. It takes discipline, effort, and relentless action. But once you establish momentum, the process becomes easier. The key is to never let yourself stop, because once you do, you have to restart the entire process from scratch. And restarting is always harder than just keeping the momentum going in the first place. The biggest mistake people make is believing that small actions don't matter. They think if they can't give 100%, it's not worth doing at all. It's not worth doing at all. But that mindset is a trap. It's an excuse. Small actions compound over time, and they create powerful results. If you improve by just 1% every single day in a year, you will be 37 times better than when you started. But if you let yourself skip days, that progress disappears. Success is built in the micro moments. The times when you could have quit but didn't. Times when you could have slacked off but chose discipline instead. Man. Every time you do something, even if it's small, you reinforce the mindset of consistency. You prove to yourself that you are committed. You train your brain to show up no matter what. And over time, that discipline becomes unshakable. Winners don't have 0 days. They don't allow excuses to break their momentum. They understand that something is always better than nothing. Even the smallest action today puts you miles ahead of the person who did nothing. The only way to fail is to stop. Keep moving. Keep pushing. Never have a 0 day. Keep pushing. Never have a 0 day. Excuses are the greatest enemy of success. They sound reasonable, they feel justified, and they give you temporary relief from discomfort. But in reality, excuses are nothing more than lies you tell yourself to avoid doing what needs to be done. The weak rely on excuses to justify their inaction, while the strong reject them entirely. The moment you let an excuse dictate your actions, you've already lost. Because once you allow one excuse, more will follow. It starts with skipping a workout because you're too tired, and before you know it, you've gone weeks without training. It starts with postponing work because you're not in the mood. And suddenly, your goals have been sitting untouched for months. There is no such thing as a valid excuse. You either get things done or you don't. The world doesn't care why you didn't succeed. It doesn't care if you were too tired, too busy, or too stressed. Results are the only thing that matters. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail is simple. Successful people refuse to let excuses control them. They feel the same resistance, the same discomfort, and the same desire to procrastinate. But they override those feelings with action. They show up whether they feel like it or not. Most people fail not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they give themselves too many options. They allow themselves the option to skip a day, the option to take it easy, the option to delay. The moment you give yourself an option to quit, your mind will take it. That's why the most successful people will eliminate excuses entirely. They don't wake up and ask themselves if they feel like working. They don't negotiate with laziness. They don't entertain weakness. They operate on discipline, not feelings. The truth is, there will never be a perfect time to start. You will never wake up every single day feeling energized, motivated, and ready to go. Some days you will be exhausted. Some days life will throw problems at you. Some days you will feel completely unmotivated, but none of that matters. What matters is whether or not you show up despite those challenges. The people who win in life are the ones who take action even when everything is working against them. They don't wait for motivation. You wait for motivation. They don't wait for ideal circumstances. They don't wait at all. They move forward no matter what. Excuses create a dangerous pattern. The more you allow them, the weaker you become. Your mind starts looking for the easy way out. You become comfortable with quitting, comfortable with inaction, comfortable with mediocrity. And once you get comfortable with mediocrity, it becomes almost impossible to break free from it. This is why successful people hate excuses. They know that every time they choose discipline over excuses, they strengthen their mindset. Every time they show up when they don't feel like it, they become stronger. Every time they push through, they separate themselves from the rest of the world. At the end of the day, you have two choices. You can either find a way or you can find an excuse, but you can't have both. Winners don't allow themselves the luxury of excuses. They see obstacles as challenges to overcome, not as reasons to quit. They take control of their actions and refuse to be victims of circumstance. They understand that every excuse brings them further away from success, while every action, no matter how small, brings them closer. The choice is yours. Make progress or make excuses. But understand this, no one ever achieved greatness by making excuses. Momentum is one of the most powerful forces in life. It determines whether you keep moving forward or fall into the trap of stagnation. When you are in motion, everything feels easier. You get into a rhythm and progress starts to feel natural. But the moment you allow yourself to stop, even for a single day, you disrupt that rhythm. What was once easy now feels difficult. What was once automatic now requires effort. This is why you must never break the chain, because once momentum is lost, it is incredibly hard to regain. People who succeed in any area of life, whether it's business, fitness, or personal development, understand the power of consistency. They don't allow themselves to miss days because they know that every day they show up, they reinforce a habit. They strengthen their discipline. They build momentum that makes success inevitable. On the other hand, people who struggle are the ones who allow inconsistency to creep in. They convince themselves that skipping one day won't make a difference, but that one day turns into two, then three, and before they know it, they've completely fallen off track. The problem is that when you miss a day, it becomes psychologically easier to miss the next. Your brain starts making excuses. You justify taking a break. And soon you find yourself in a downward spiral. You tell yourself you'll get back on track tomorrow, but when tomorrow comes, the resistance feels even greater. This is how people fail. Not because they lack ability, but because they let themselves lose momentum. Think of a train speeding down a track. When it's moving at full speed, it can crash through barriers and keep going. But if that train comes to a stop, even a small obstacle can prevent it from moving forward. This is exactly how momentum works in life. When you're in motion, you can push through difficulties, setbacks, and distractions. But if you stop, even the smallest challenge can feel overwhelming. This is why you must never let yourself stop. Success is built on the habit of showing up, even when you don't feel like it. The strongest people in the world are not the ones who always feel motivated. They are the ones who have trained themselves to take action no matter what. They don't allow themselves the luxury of inconsistency. They understand that every single day counts, and missing even one day can break the flow they've worked so hard to create. The most dangerous lie you can tell yourself is that one day doesn't matter. Every time you skip, you send a message to your subconscious that quitting is acceptable. You weaken your mindset and make it easier to quit again in the future. But when you refuse to break the chain, when you commit to showing up no matter what, You create a powerful identity, one of discipline, consistency, and unstoppable progress. Most people fail not because they don't have the potential, but because they don't protect their momentum. They allow themselves to stop and assume they can just start again when they feel like it. But starting over is always harder than just keeping the momentum going in the first place. The effort required to restart is far greater than the effort needed to simply keep moving forward, even at a slow pace. No matter what happens, no matter how tired, unmotivated, or busy you feel, never break the chain. Do something, even if it's just a small action. Keep the habit alive. Because once you lose momentum, regaining it is 10 times harder. The secret to long-term success is not intensity, it's consistency. Keep going no matter what. Momentum is your greatest weapon, and once you master it, nothing can stop you. Resistance is the force that separates those who achieve greatness from those who settle for mediocrity. It shows up in different forms: self-doubt, fatigue, distractions, fear, or even boredom. It is the voice in your head that tells you to stop, to rest, to take the easy way out. It is the invisible wall that makes even simple tasks feel difficult. Here's the truth. The hardest moments are the most important ones to push through. Most people give up the moment things become difficult. They convince themselves that discomfort is a sign to stop, that struggling means they are not meant for success. But the exact opposite is true. Discomfort is a test, and those who push through it are the ones who rise above the rest. Every time you resist the urge to quit, you prove to yourself that you are stronger than your excuses. You build resilience, mental toughness, and a level of discipline that most people will never develop. Greatest successes in life come from those who refuse to back down when resistance hits. It's easy to take action when you're feeling motivated and full of energy. But what happens when you're exhausted? What happens when the excitement fades and the process becomes repetitive? What happens when progress slows and the results aren't coming as fast as you expected? This is where most people fall. They start to question if it's worth it. They tell themselves they'll take a break and start again later. But later never comes. Once you start negotiating with resistance, you give it power over you. Think about the strongest, most successful individuals in the world: athletes, entrepreneurs, fighters, and leaders. Do you think they got to the top because everything was easy? No. They got there because they learned to push through when it was the hardest. They trained when they didn't feel like it. They worked when they were exhausted. Showed up when they had every excuse not to. And that's exactly why they became the best. The moment you push through resistance, something powerful happens. You become unstoppable. You prove to yourself that no obstacle, no excuse, and no feeling of discomfort can break you. You develop a mindset that thrives in difficulty. And once you build that level of mental toughness, nothing can shake you. Most people wait for the right circumstances to take action. Winners create their own momentum by acting even when everything inside them screams to stop. Every time you push through resistance, you raise your standards. You start to expect more from yourself. You no longer allow laziness or weakness to dictate your actions. You set a new baseline for what is acceptable in your life. The things that once felt difficult become your new normal. Work that used to exhaust you becomes effortless. The mental battles that used to hold you back lose their power. This is how true strength is built, not in moments of comfort, but in moments of struggle. Resistance is not your enemy. It is your training ground. It is the force that sharpens you, that makes you stronger, that separates you from the crowd. The weak run from resistance. The strong embrace it. They know that every moment of struggle is an opportunity to grow, to become more disciplined, to prove to themselves that they're built different. The only way to level up in life is to push through when it's hard. That is where the real transformation happens. That is where champions are made. That's where champions are made. Discipline is the foundation of success. It is the force that keeps you moving forward when motivation fades, when challenges arise, and when your mind tries to convince you to quit. Most people rely on motivation to take action, but motivation is fleeting. It comes and goes. Some days you'll wake up feeling energized and ready to attack your goals, but other days you'll feel tired, uninspired, or distracted. This is where discipline separates the winners from the losers. Those who rely on motivation will only take action when they feel like it. But those who have developed discipline take action no matter what. They show up every single day because they have trained themselves to operate on commitment, not emotion. Success does not reward those who work hard only when they feel like it. It rewards those who show up regardless of how they feel. It rewards those who have conditioned themselves to take action even in the absence of motivation. This is what makes the difference between someone who dreams of success and someone who actually achieves it. They do what needs to be done, whether they feel excited, exhausted, or completely unmotivated. They do not allow their emotions to dictate their actions because they know that consistency beats intensity every time. Think about the most successful people in any field. Athletes, entrepreneurs, performers, or leaders. They are not the ones who work hard only when they feel inspired. They are the ones who have turned hard work into a non-negotiable habit. They train even when they don't feel like it. They put in the hours even when they'd rather rest. They stay locked in on their goals even when the process gets boring or frustrating. This is what discipline is. It is the ability to keep going when every part of you wants to stop. Most people fail not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they lack the discipline to be consistent. They start strong, but the moment things get difficult or repetitive, they lose focus. They allow distractions to pull them away. They convince themselves that taking a break is harmless, and before they know it, they've completely fallen off track. But those who are truly committed do not allow this to happen. They have already made the decision that they will never miss a day, no matter what. They refuse to allow excuses, emotions, or obstacles to break their momentum. There will be days when discipline feels like a burden. There will be times when your mind will try to convince you to quit, to take it easy, or to delay. But these are the moments that define you. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are reinforcing the mindset of a winner. Every time you show up despite not feeling like it, you are proving to yourself that you are in control. Not your emotions, not your excuses, not your circumstances. The more you practice discipline, the stronger it becomes. Eventually, taking action becomes automatic. It becomes who you are, rather than something you have to force yourself to do. The truth is, discipline creates freedom. It gives you the ability to shape your own future to achieve what others only dream of. Those who lack discipline are slaves to their emotions, their distractions, and their impulses. Those who master discipline control their destiny. They dictate their result. They build a life on their own terms. If you want to win, if you want to dominate, if you want to rise above the rest, you must commit to discipline as a way of life. No more waiting for motivation. No more giving in to excuses. More inconsistency. Winners never miss a day, and that is why they succeed, where others at the end of the day. Success is not about luck, talent, or waiting for the perfect moment. It's about showing up every single day, no matter what. It's about crushing excuses, building unstoppable momentum, pushing through resistance, and mastering discipline. People who win in life are not the ones who do things occasionally. They are the ones who never miss a day. Most people fail because they allow themselves to break the chain, momentum chain. They let small excuses turn into habits of inconsistency. But the ones who rise above, the ones who dominate, are those who refuse to let anything stop them. They understand that progress is made not in giant leaps, but in daily, relentless action. Every day you show up, you reinforce the identity of a winner. Every day you push forward, you separate yourself from the weak. And every day you refuse to quit, you prove to yourself that you are built different. If you want success, if you want to dominate, if you want to create a life most people only dream of, there's only one rule: never miss a day.